chosen one. God is crying over you tonight. Not the way you might imagine. Not in disappointment. Not in anger. He is crying the way a father cries when he watches his child pack a bag and walk toward the door, not knowing that everything they ever asked for is being delivered to the house in the morning. You are leaving one night too early. That is what is happening right now. Every prayer you whispered into that concrete ceiling was heard. Every silent bargain you made with heaven at 0 inches, the morning was recorded. Every time you forced yourself to believe for one more day, God marked it. And now the return on all of that faithfulness is closer than it has ever been. It is in the next room. But somewhere along the way, the asking became accepting. The praying became coping. The fire became a flicker. And you started rehearsing your disappointment instead of reaching for the door. That is what is making God weep. Not your failure, your timing. You are preparing to walk away at the very moment heaven is preparing to walk in. This message is here to stop you from making the most devastating almost of your life. Listen with everything you have. Because what I am about to walk you through will do 3 things before this message ends. First, I will show you exactly why you have been feeling the way you have been feeling, and it is not what you think. Second, you will receive a specific practice, a tool you can use tonight to realign your spirit with what God has been building in silence. And third, I will reveal what God has already prepared for you, the thing you are inches away from missing. And I will show you why this moment right now is your last open window to receive it. But none of that will reach you if you leave early. So stay until the very end, because who you are at the end of this message will not be the same person listening right now. You are not who you think you are right now. And what God sees when He looks at your life will change how you see everything, including yourself. But before I show you that, I need to show you something closer. Something happening inside you right now that you have not been able to name. There is a seed God planted in you before you were born. Not a metaphor, a real thing, a frequency, a capacity, a fire that was placed inside your spirit the moment you took your first breath. That seed has been growing in silence, in soil no one could see, pushing through years of pressure and darkness and weight, and it is still alive. But something has shifted recently. Something quiet. Something you almost did not notice. And that quiet shift is the most dangerous thing happening in your life right now. Let me show you what I mean. It is 11 at night. You are sitting somewhere. Maybe your bed, maybe your couch, maybe a chair you have sat in 1,000 times before. The only light in the room is coming from a screen. And you are scrolling, not looking for anything, just moving your thumb because stopping feels worse than continuing. You pass things that used to excite you, and you feel nothing. Not sadness, not frustration, nothing. And somewhere underneath that, nothing, a voice whispers something that should terrify you, but instead just feels true. Maybe this is just who I am now. That voice is a lie, but it does not feel like a lie, does it? It feels like acceptance. It feels like maturity. It feels like you are finally being realistic instead of chasing something that was never coming. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous, because you are not accepting reality. You are accepting a counterfeit version of reality that was designed to make you stop reaching right before your hand touches the door. Let me show you 5 signs that tell me you are in the drift right now. And I want you to pay attention, because the more of these you recognize, the more certain I am that this message was timed for you with an any-one accuracy that only God could arrange. The first sign you stopped praying with: expectation. You still pray, maybe every night, maybe every morning, but the prayers have changed. They used to carry weight. They used to feel like conversation. Now they feel like routines, like checking a box. So you do not feel guilty. You say the words, but you stopped expecting anything to happen after you say them, and you did not even notice when that shift happened. It crept in so slowly that by the time you realized it, you had already been operating on autopilot for weeks, maybe months. The second sign: you stopped looking for signs. You used to notice everything: a number repeating, a song playing at exactly the right moment, a stranger saying something that felt like it was meant only for you. The universe used to speak, and you used to listen. But lately, you have trained yourself to stop listening, because every time you thought something was a sign, nothing followed. And after enough of those moments, you decided it was safer to stop looking than to keep being disappointed. The third sign: you stopped speaking over your own life. There was a time when you would wake up and declare things. You would say, "I am blessed. I am chosen. Something is shifting. My breakthrough is near." And you meant it. You felt the words vibrate in your chest when you spoke them. But now those declarations feel hollow. They feel like lies, and so you stopped saying them. Not because you do not believe in the power of words, because you do not believe the words apply to you anymore. The fourth sign: you stop protecting your energy. You let conversations drain you that you would have walked away from 6 months ago. You let people into spaces you used to guard. Not because your boundaries got weaker, because you stopped believing there was anything worth protecting. When you do not think a future is coming, you stop guarding the present. And the fifth sign: you stopped believing the good was for you. You see other people receiving breakthroughs, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel a quiet ache. Not jealousy, something deeper. A resignation that says their story is different from mine. They were meant for that. I was meant for this. And this ordinary, heavy, stuck version of life must be what God intended for me after all. If your spirit just confirmed any of the from that, if something in your chest tightened when you heard those words, type the words, "I am still here," in the comments right now. Not for me, for you. Let your fingers seal what your fingers seal. Spirit already knows that you are still here, that you did not quit, that even in the drift, something in you refused to let go completely. Now listen to me carefully, because I am about to reframe everything you just recognized. That heaviness you have been carrying, the one that sits on your chest like a stone you cannot move. That is not depression. That is not burnout. That is the weight of something trying to be born inside you. A baby in the womb gets heaviest right before delivery. And what God planted in you has been growing to the point where your old frame can no longer contain it. The heaviness is not the problem. The Heaviness is the proof that something massive is about to break through. And the numbness, that terrifying feeling of nothing, that is not apathy. That is your spirit's last line of defense. Your soul has two options right now: reignite or shut down entirely. And the numbness is the pause between those two outcomes. You are standing in the hallway between who you were and who you are about to become. And hallways are not meant to be lived in.